Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sushma.B.V. I am currently pursuing Master of Business Administration at Sri Venkateshwara Institute of Technology. In this video, I am discuss about Introduction to Sampling Techniques. First, we can know about what is sampling. Sampling is the act, process, or techniques of selecting a suitable sample or a representative part of a population for the purpose of determining parameters or characteristics of the whole population. These sampling techniques give each element an equal and independent chance of being selected. An equal chance means by equally probability of selection. For example, in a population of 300 each, theoretically has 1 by 300 yet chance of being selected in a population of 1000 each element as 1 by 1000 a chance of being selected. An independent chance means that a draw of one element will not affect the chance of other elements being selected. Sampling is a process of selecting representative units from an entire population of a study. Sample is not always possible to study an entire population. Therefore, the researcher draws a representative part of population through sampling process. In other words, sampling is a selection sum of part of an aggregate or whole on the basis of judgments and interference about the aggregate or mass is made. It is a process of obtaining information regarding the phenomenon about entire population by examining part for it. In sampling, we have two methods like probability sampling and non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, we have like simple random, stratified random, systematic random, and clustered random. In non-probability sampling, we have some types like convenience, judgment, and snowball. Before going to types of sampling, first we can know about what is probability sampling. Probability sampling is a sampling method that involves randomly selecting a sample or a part of the population that you want to research. It is also sometimes called random sampling. First, we can know about first type of probability sampling is simple random technique. In a simple random sample, every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Your sampling frame should include the whole population. To conduct this type of sampling, you can also look took like random number generation or other techniques that are based entirely on chance. And second type of sampling is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is similar to simple random sampling, but it is usually slightly easier to conduct. Every member of the population listed with a number, but instead randomly generated numbers, individuals are chosen at regular intervals. And stratified sampling. Stratified sampling involves dividing the population into subpopulation that may differ in important way. It also you draw more precise conclusions by ensuring that every subgroup is properly represented in the sample. In cluster sampling also involves dividing the population into subgroups, but each subgroup should have similar characteristics to the whole sample. Instead of sampling individuals from each group, you randomly select entire subgroup. If it is possible, practically you might include every individual if the cluster themselves are large. You can also sample individuals from within each cluster using one of the technique above. This is also called as multi-stage sampling. And now we can discuss about non-probability sampling methods. In non-probability sampling, individuals are selected based on non-random criteria and not every individual has a chance of being included. In first non-probability sampling, convenience sampling. Sample simplify includes the individuals who happens to be most accessible to the researcher. This is an easy and inexpensive way to gather initial data, but there is no way to tell if the sample is representative of the population. So it cannot produce generalizable result. Convenience sample are at the risk for both sample and bias and selection bias. And second one of non-probability sampling is snowball sampling. The population is hard to access snowball. Sampling can be used to recruit participants through other participants. The number of people you have access snowball as you get in contact with more people. The downsides here is also representativeness, as you have way of knowing you are representative. Your sample is due to the reliance on participant recruiting others. This can lead to sampling bias. Quota sampling. Quota sampling relies on the non-random selection of predetermined number or proportion of units. This is also called quota. You first divide the population into mutually exclusive subgroups, then recruit sample into you reach your quota. This unit share specific characteristics determined by your prior to forming your strata. The aim of quota sampling is to control what you makes up by sample. And in sampling methods, we also some like advantages and disadvantages by doing sample. First, advantages. It is easy to select and suitable simplifying frame can be identified easily and sample evenly spread over entire reference population. And some disadvantages like sample may be biased if hidden periodicity in population coincides with that of selection and difficult to access precision of estimate from one survey. And we have some differences in probability sampling and non-probability sampling. And when we go to probability sampling, you can generalize to the population defined by the sampling frame. But when you go to non-probability sampling, you cannot generalize beyond a sample. And in probability sampling, allow us to statistic test and hypothesis. But in non-probability sampling, exploratory research generates hypothesis. And in probability sampling method can estimate the population parameters. But in non-probability sampling methods, population parameters are not estimated. But in probability sampling, elements as bias. In non-probability sampling, adequacy of the sample cannot be known, and sampling of probability method must have random selection, but in non-probability, cheaper, easier and quicker to carry off. Thank you. Please like this video if you